Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hype, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion. Your host, welcome back to the Baseball Hype, and hopefully you like this video. Hit that subscribe button. So the Mets won 2 out of 3 against the Chicago Cubs. The big takeaway from Sunday's game is the fact that Griffin Canning pitched really well again. The way he's pitching, he can make the All-Star team. Also, the Mets hit quite a few home runs. Francisco Lindor had the big home run in the 8th inning, and obviously it was a follow-up home run later on in the inning by Brandon Nimmo. But there was a rumor that popped up, and I expect positional help for this club because, quite frankly, the Mets have 2 holes in their lineup, one being at DH and one being in one of the outfield spots. Now, Tyrone Taylor has done a very good job in center field, but he's not an everyday player, in my opinion. And I wonder how his bat is going to react to playing more if he plays more and more and more. So, got off to a slow start. He's been playing really well. He's a great defensive player. We know that. But there are some issues here with the club offensively. Now, in my opinion, I would do something with Starlin Marte. Maybe DFA him, eat the money, get him out of here. And who knows when Jesse Winker's coming back? He's not coming back for another 2 months. So we're gonna be waiting a long time. And we weren't getting a lot of production out of the DH spot. I put Brandon in with DH, and I talked about this a lot. And bring in a center fielder. Now the Mets do have some options in the minor leagues. Drew Gilbert is progressing. He's getting in his games, and that's very important. But obviously the Mets have an issue in center field. Don't have an everyday player. You need everyday players. And one name popped up today, and I'm not too enamored with this player. That's my opinion, but I'll talk about it here for you. Some SI. Obviously the Mets have an issue in center field. And this guy's name came up today. This is Luis Robert Jr., the center fielder for the White Sox, the lowly White Sox. And there were 2 things that came out, 2 reports. Bob Nightingale had a report. And then, of course, the Scott Boras whisperer, John Heyman, had a counter report. Let me read you from my SI. They do a great job summing stuff up. Insider provides further context on Mets' Luis Robert interests. New York Mets checked in on White Sox center fielder Luis Robert Jr., and one insider provided further context on the situation. Now, I would mention, he's hitting 186. And he's not been a very good hitter since 2023, when he hit 38 home runs. And I also would keep in mind that this is a player that's had a very difficult time staying healthy in his career, just overall. It's no secret that the Mets' biggest area of need on the position player side of their rosters in center field. Jose Sears currently out with a fractured tibia, who I've heard positive things, but he wasn't hitting as well on the seat before he got hurt. And while Tyrone Taylor has filled in nicely in center, he may be better suited for a part-time role on the club. That's where an obvious trade candidate could come in, Luis Robert Jr. of the Chicago White Sox, who will likely be dealt by the July trade deadline. And as MLB insider Bob Nightingale of USA Today Sports reported on Sunday, the Mets are one of the teams that have checked in on Robert. The White Sox have interested in Mets pitching prospect Blade Tidwell as part of a potential return package. However, another MLB insider, the Scott Boras whisperer, John Heyman of the New York Post, provided further context regarding the situation. Regarding recent rumors, there's nothing hot at the moment with the Mets and Luis Robert. It's May. They have anything hot. They checked on him in the past. Center field isn't a necessity, potential area of interest down the road. To me, the biggest thing is that the Mets pitching is very good, and I think the pitching is going to get better because obviously Sean Manaea is going to come back. Frankie Montas is going to pitch in. Tyler McGill, I would mention, is starting to do what he does. Pitches great in April, but in the rest of the year it is shaky, and then he gets hurt. That's a spot in Mets rotation you have to keep an eye on, monitor, because we know his history as a major league with the Mets. And this thing with Manaea, once Manaea comes back, throw him back into the rotation, get him going. It's going to be a while before we see him. And Frankie Montas is getting close to throwing, I guess, in a rehab assignment. He's getting close. So the Mets are going to have some options. Also, the Mets in their minor leagues have a couple of guys percolating up to the surface. Brandon Sprout, we know about him. He's been sort of up and down in AAA. And, of course, the Mets recently called up Nolan McLean, who had a very good first start on Friday. And he went 7 innings. And it was the first time he did that all year. And he was very good. And that's a guy to keep an eye on, not only for the rotation, but for the bullpen as well. So the Mets have themselves a very interesting situation here with the club. There isn't, in my view, a lot of needs here. I don't think they're going to be getting, unless there are massive injuries coming for this pitching staff. The needs I see for this team is a lefty reliever. First thing that we know that David Stearns will do is he'll try to bring in people on the edges. We know that he signed Colin Puche the other day to a minor league deal. He's been pitching in Syracuse. I think he'll start doing that. If not, at some point he'll make a deal, probably similar to what he did last year. And then they'll be looking to bring in outfield help. And I would look to bring in 2 outfielders, quite frankly. And outfielders are not that difficult to bring in. It's not going to cost you a lot to bring in an outfielder. I would mention, just as a step back, the Mets wanted to bring in, and they offered a contract to Teoscar Hernandez last offseason. And he didn't sign. He went back to the Dodgers. But I think the Mets knew back then that that was going to be an area of need for them come this season. But be that as it may, to me, they need 2 more positional players to sort of fill in this lineup a little bit better. And but I think once they do that, they'll be in great shape. But this is an interesting story about Robert. But he has not had a good start. I mean, he's hitting 186, and last year he hit 224. So this is not great offensively. He has not been a good offensive player in 2 years. And he's 27 years old. I don't know if it's because of that bad situation in Chicago right now. It's a bad situation here. But it is getting better. It's not last year. Last year was just a complete disaster for the entire franchise. But you let me know what you think about this video. And, of course, please subscribe to the Baseball Hut, and I'll see you later.